I get these inboxes from people that have contemplated suicide, from people that have left their jobs and started a small successful business, people that are happy, people that have someone to look up to now, and that, like, I don't take that lightly. And I put up a post. It was Gary Vee's birthday the other day, and I've obviously got to meet him one time and said thank you, looked him in the eyes, and I think my post was, I was like, thank you, you changed my life. And my friend Lima, he goes, someone's going to do that post about you one day. And that kind of really resonated with me, because I don't think like that. I'm just like bang, bang, content. Like, I would have posted 3 times today already. Like, I move so quick. I don't really have time to stop and reflect, and which I need to start doing, because I say thank you so much. It almost becomes a part of your life. I just feel grateful when I wake up.
Issac, mate, thanks for coming on board.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me in my office.
Yeah. How was Bali?
Yeah, Bali was cool. I've been there probably about 9 times now, which is always exciting, but a little bit of a different trip. Kind of had a war. I was trying to do too many things during the year, and I just needed a break and sort of just chilled out in Canggu for a bit, and it was good.
Nice, dude. Nice. Much partying over there?
Nah, I had about 3 nights out of 2 weeks, which is pretty steady for Bali.
Yeah, nice.
I've been over different times with boys and footy trips, and there are a lot of different trips, but really enjoy it. Spend a lot more time there next year.
Yeah, nice.
Sweet, man. How's lots going on for you, especially this year? Things have really ramped up coming towards the end of 2020. What's it been like for you the last sort of 3 months?
A few lessons in there, like obviously we off the back of YKTR, our clothing side of it, we kind of really took off, and a little bit of ego in there. So I was like, shit, let me try a bunch of different other things. And what I found was my attention span was scattered across too many things. We launched a tech project, I launched a podcast, meant to be building an online course as well, doing consulting, all that sort of stuff. So I wasn't really focused on and I was trying to do it all on my own. So what I've come to realize over the past maybe about 2 months is I can't do everything on my own. I'm probably not as good as I thought I was in terms of trying to start all these different things. I bought into a few different companies, shit like that. And I've got to focus on what generates us sales and what generates us capital, which is our clothing side. And everything else off the back of that builds off the back of that. And what I mean by that is you guys are interviewing me because I run a brand called YKTR, and that's got a bit of a leverage. So I've got a bit of leverage now, but that's built off the back of me pointing back to something.
Yeah, sure, man. Cool. So, I mean, obviously we know a lot about you. We've done our research and stuff, but to give the listeners, give us a rundown of you, your business, and I really want to start from the start. So we really want to go back to the beginning.
Are you talking about life or business?
Let's go back to life first.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's say your teenage years. How long ago did you move from New Zealand?
So I grew up in a small town called Tokoro in New Zealand, which is right in the middle of the North Island, roughly about 10,000 people. It's a town that's sort of built around forestry. So when you're growing up, your parents either chop down trees or work in the mill, turn it into pulp and paper and 4x4. And that's what the economy is built off in that small town. Very rough town. Nice people, but there's a sort of a gang mentality around it, and that was basically it. So what I understood from the age of 5 is I didn't really want to be there, and I saw my way out. It was through playing rugby league. My dad was my coach. Had a few guys like Quade Cooper. He was my best mate growing up. We grew up playing football together, and my other friend Sean Maitland, who plays for Saracens in Scotland in the World Cup, and he's played for Great British Lions. They were my 2 best mates growing up. So I think we used to talk about it. I've only thought about that as I've gotten older, but we used to say like we'll always make it out of our hometown, and which we all sort of did. Just really focused in on league. Went to the Warriors when I was like 17. Trained full time. Played for the 20 system. Ended up debuting there. New coach coming in, didn't want me. Fucked me off to. Are you allowed to swear on this? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Fucked me off to England when I was about 21. Went over there for 2 years and then ended up in Australia. Ivan Cleary was my coach at the Warriors. He goes, do you want to come to Penrith? I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, cool. So this was chasing football the entire time. Yeah. So you were traveling for football. You were being sent all around the world. Was any of this personally chosen to travel?
What do you mean?
So to go to England and then come to Australia?
Oh, not really. So Bluey McLennan, who was a Warriors coach, come in that year. All 3 of our grades went to the grand final. I was captain of the reserve grade side. I played a bit of first grade. By then, a week before the grand final, he sat me down in a cafe. He goes, you're probably not going to get a run here next year. I sort of had 2-3 years to run on my contract. He goes, I just don't see you as a first grade footballer. So that time of the year, a lot of the salary cap's taken up over in Australia. I had a quick look over here, and then I had my manager goes, do you want to go to England for a year or two? signed there for 3 years on probably double my money. I saw double my money when I was 20 years old. I'm like, fuck it, I'm off. Took my girlfriend and we just went over there at the time.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And how was that? How old were you during this time?
2021.
2021. How did all this go? It's full on.
Oh, like I've kind of been like sort of alone. Like I've always been happy in my own company. Like my mum said when I was like 4 or 5, I used to walk to kindy on my own. Like never went to my parents' area, settled and stuff. Pride in my independence. 20 years old, moving to England didn't faze me at the time. Oh. But what actually happened over there is I had another coach that hated me as well. Right. And he sort of sat me in his office, looked me straight in the eyes, and he goes, "I don't care how fucking well you train. I don't care what you do, whatever. I'll never play you again in my team." And looked at me dead straight in the eyes. I was 20 years old. Like I said before, I'd taken my girlfriend over there. She hated it as well. I went back there on my own. He sat me down first day of pre-season, said that. And over in England, sort of turned towards prescription drugs and like Valium. So I used to take Valium every day. Like I used to train, go home, take Valium, go to sleep, and train. Yeah. And when have you been in England?
I haven't, no.
Right, at night time, at 3:30, 4 o'clock, it's dark. So you just sit at home in the dark. You have dinner at 5 because you fuck all to do, and go have Nando's and go home and sleep. And then that was sort of like my next 2-3 months.
Mm. Yeah, fully. What was the culture like there? Like, it sounds like it was tough. Like,
it's cool.
Suck it up.
Nah, Pommy boys are like some of the best people you ever meet are Pommies. They got great banter. There's no egos about them whatsoever. Okay. We're in the north, so it's very blue collar. Great people. It's just sort of lifestyle change. And I come from New Zealand, where we're from Australia. We look at New Zealand like, fuck, it's cold, it's raining all the time. So I was looking back at New Zealand like, shit, it's sunny there all the time compared to this joint. It was a real eye opener, but I don't regret it. It was a great experience, and I sort of learned off the back of it. And once Ivan sort of said, come back to Penrith, I knew that was sort of my last chance, and I rolled into a pretty decent couple of years.
Yeah. And what was the pressure like playing in Penrith? You obviously
there's no. I don't feel like there was any pressure at the time. They were in a sort of rebuild phase. I was coming in as a backup half, so there was no pressure on me. It was all sort of internally through myself, where I was like, shit, this is my last chance. I'm sort of 22, 23 now. No one's going to sort of pick up a halfback that hasn't played too much first grade by then. And my manager told me that, and I knew that, and ended up playing like 7 games of reserve grade. We ended up playing. I got a run in first grade, and we played Melbourne Storm, and obviously best team in the comp. We were paying $11, and we beat them that night. And then the next week we played the Warriors, which was my old side, and we beat them like 64-10, and I scored a hat trick. So it was sort of like that 2-year cycle, and I'd been training my ass off. I was off the piss. I was doing all that sort of stuff. I knew this was my last chance, and I had sort of 2-3 games to prove it, and I did. So we beat Melbourne Storm. We pumped the Warriors. I scored a hat trick. And we played St. George without okay, and we nilled them. So I played those 3 games in a row when they'd come off 6 losses in a row. So I looked like I was a solution, and then re-signed for 3 years after that.
Nice, dude. Nice.
And how did you get into YKTR? I know I've listened to a lot of your podcasts before, and you talked about you got into reading on the back of an injury. How did you find yourself getting into YKTR and the mindset of wanting to run a business?
When I was in high school, I took a thing called Young Enterprise Scheme, which talked about business. I was okay at economics, so I understood the basic like supply and demand and all that sort of shit. But I think I knew from a young age I just didn't really want to work for anyone, or I just didn't want to do what the norm was. So I got into reading through Michael Lark, who was at the Warriors at the time, and the way he played football, he'd always get knocked out. His head was always in the wrong place. And from an outside looking in, you're thinking, fuck, he must be dumb. Like, you look at footballers and you're like, fuck, he must be dumb. And then you go have a coffee with this bloke, and he's probably one of the most diverse conversations you could ever have. And you talk about a bunch of different shit, from business to politics to anything. He had an opinion on it, but it wasn't like, this is my opinion. Like, it's not trying to shove it down your throat like sort of veganism is right now. They're like, vegan, this is the way it has to be. He just had a sort of a stand back, broad approach. He understood both sides of the story, had his own thing, but didn't get affected by it. And that really left an impression on me when I was sort of 2021. Coming to the Warriors, we played 5, pretty similar to the Penrith story. The boys had lost like 5-6 games. I come in with James Maloney, and I'd won 5 games in a row. And I kind of look like the solution again. Yeah. But we played Penrith, and Pitcho Sivanasiva dived at my knee, took up my ACL. And when you're 20, I think I was 19 at the time, 19, 20, seems like your world's over when you do an ACL, you hear about them. It's like the worst injury in the world, all this sort of shit. So I started feeling sorry for myself. And while I was injured, he gave me a few books to read. And one was It's Not About the Bike by Lance Armstrong, obviously pre-cheating days. Before that, and you see a guy with cancer and you see a guy with a sore knee, gave me my first bit of perspective. So
Yeah, man.
and you start reading. I used to start reading about sports, like sports people making comebacks, because that's what I was trying to do. And then I obviously evolve as a reader. Those types of books get boring. You sort of like, it's quite linear, like start well, like a bit of drama, and then finish well, sort of like a movie.
Yeah.
Sort of saw that pattern coming, and then started reading about self-development, all that sort of stuff, and that transitioned into business. Started hearing about business stories and got excited, made my stomach feel, I was like, shit, that sounds cool. I'd love to do that, and sort of rolled into that. How it started with YKTR, I knew I wanted to do something outside of football. I used to have coffees with football players all the time, and I used to ask different questions that weren't revolved around gambling, girls, or alcohol. And one of the questions was, what do you want to do after football? And no one ever gave me anything exciting, like coaching, move into media, be a PT, start a cafe. Like, there's no one that said anything like outside the box. No one had really started a clothing business at the time. I know a lot of people are trying to do that now. But yeah, to roll into a clothing company was a little bit weird, because myself and Chico, we just used to say YKTR as a joke. So it was meant in sort of a boastful, banterful way. So like, we were all single at the time, and like, normally you're going to get a start tonight. And he's like, oh, but you know the rules.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like a, like boasting, so, but just chilled, like, and then
man.
we obviously abbreviated it down to YKTR, and we used to write on girls' pages, just hashtag YKTR. And like, everyone sort of picked up on it, like, what is it? And because the no's there, like, people go, what's YKTR stand for? And we say, you know the rules. They sort of go like, so they couldn't quite pick it up. So that was just sort of the joke at the time. And we were going out a lot at the time, and obviously the boys been in trouble for that sort of stuff. But we used to just wear YKTR stuff out, and people go, can I buy it? And sort of just evolved from there. Yeah.
And a lot of people tend to look on from the outside and see obviously the great success that YKTR has sort of evolved in, and how you've been able to scale it. Was there any businesses that you attempted before, or that you failed, you learnt from, that allowed you to, I guess, grow YKTR?
Yeah, multiple. I sort of talked about earlier how I was scattered across a few different things this year, with tech project, with podcasting, with online coursing, with consulting. The same thing happened when I launched into YKTR. So I'd retired from football. I had a chance to go back to England, did not want to go back there. I was sort of 27, 28, but I knew I wanted to start a business. So I started taking online courses through a guy named Ty Lopez, and one of them was social media agency. I took that, learned a bunch of shit from that. Wanted to run a social media agency, and I went to 10 different meetings, and I was pretty much preaching the same shit I'm saying right now. Like, I'd build content, very Gary V-esque, all that sort of stuff, and they were looking at me like, doesn't make sense. Like, why am I going to pay you $1,000? So this is my goal. I wanted to be in Bali, and $10,000 from working online. That's all I wanted to do, and that's how I started. So I tried to start a social media agency, didn't really work. Try to do drop shipping, which was kind of the thing at the time. I was selling a bunch, but the things I learned from that is sort of more so Facebook advertising and stuff like that. So I was trying to do 3 different things at the same time, and then I was playing park football. So I was spread across too much stuff. And then once I got rid of the 2 and focused on YKTR, we started to grow from there.
Yeah, man, it's funny. It's funny, especially when you say
You're
drop shipping.
yeah.
I've been around it, man. I think I registered 16 businesses in my life. 2 of them have worked, and so it's funny. But because I know for me, starting those, money was the focus. How many of these were money focused versus actually thinking about it and going, hey, this is something that I'm really interested in, especially with the social media stuff. Like, you fulfilled it to a certain degree. What made you pull out?
I felt sleazy, and I'll tell you what my drop shipping idea was. So all I used to do was see chicks on Instagram with dogs. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm gonna make dog t-shirts. So,
the next thing.
Yeah, the next thing. And like, oh, girls wear dog t-shirts. This makes sense. So I started selling like dog t-shirts through drop shipping and all this sort of stuff, T-Launch and stuff like that. And my market was actually in Texas with 40 to 50-year-old women, which is okay, because I was making my stuff over in there, and I was getting sent down to there. And then this is funny, because they used to email me, and I used to have an alias email thing.
Okay, yeah.
And I just felt fucking sleazy. Like, I was selling a product that I didn't believe in. I was doing and I was making sales. I was making like $150, $200 a day, which is okay when you got no money. And I just didn't sit right with me. And that's why when I go into business now, if I don't believe in it, or if I don't buy into it, or if I buy into it and I don't believe it, I know I won't stick with it.
Yeah.
And you talked about the money thing. Probably 2 years ago, actually 2 years almost to the day, because we're rolling into Black Friday, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I had a mentor at the time. He was more like headspace and all that sort of shit. And he goes, what will make you happy? And I go, if I earn this amount of money in a month, I'll feel like I'm a successful business person. Not me personally, just for our business.
Okay.
And he goes, write it down, put it on the wall, this sort of shit. Visualize it, all that. And then we launched into the month of December, and I got it in like 5-6 days. And he goes, how do you feel? And I go, nah, nothing. Like, I feel fucking nothing at all. And I go, why's that? And he goes, because you're not motivated by money, you're motivated by other things. You got to figure out what you're motivated by and head towards that. Yeah. And once I started doing that, the money just went with it, you know what I mean? So
that's cool, man. It definitely hits that point as well, where you're making money and it's great, but there's nothing else behind it. And it doesn't matter how much money you make, if you're not passionate about it when you wake up in the morning, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And unfortunately, it takes that to realize. It takes making the money and realizing there's nothing behind it to realize, oh, fuck. Like,
and saying that though, some people are motivated by money, and that's great as well. If that's what gets you going, fucking go towards that as well. But you got to understand that money doesn't equate to happiness for most people. Sure. It just only solves money problems.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you grew up with Ty Lopez, and I went through Ty Lopez as well, and he's great and he's got his message and his niche. But
did you fall into it for the YouTube ad?
What was it, man?
The Lamborghini and the...
It was a Lamborghini. Yeah. I think that's where it starts for everyone. And I didn't buy into it to start off with, but I don't know, man. I think that it was probably something else. I think it wasn't the social media one. It was...
67 steps.
Yeah, I think it was actually. It was 67 steps. That's the one I bought. And he lives a lifestyle, but I think there's stuff behind, even though he projects the money and that's what really gets him going. I think there's a lot more to it. I think there still is, and I think that's a misconception that the internet plays, and that's why it's always so much better to sit down with someone and really dive deep, is that sure, money might be at the forefront, but there's a lot of stuff behind it that's driving the ship.
He's a perfect example. So you look at him and he's sort of hanging around different girls all the time, playing basketball, lives quite a braggy lifestyle, lives in the Hollywood Hills and all that sort of stuff as well. And people judge him strictly on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but then once you dig into his content, he's a fucking smart guy. Yeah. You don't earn that type of money if you're not smart. So once I jumped into the back end of his content, started diving into that sort of opened up the avenue for online learning, and sort of just started taking different courses on a bunch of different things. Fucking I was falling into algorithms left, right and center. Man. I was like, yeah, fuck, I'll get that. I'll get that. Fall into a classic sales funnel, get the free ebook and stuff like that. So it was good though, because I would have spent 25, 30K on online courses and I've got that back easily.
Man, I'm the same, and money comes in, it goes back out, but it's invested well.
You never regret investing in your brain. You know,
absolutely, man. Absolutely. Books, everything.
And I say that all the time. Like, people won't buy I spend $100 on books a month, and people are like, $100, that's a lot of money. Or spend $100 up in your mobile data, so when you're in the car you can listen to podcasts all day.
Sure, man.
And mates are like, nah, fuck that. And then I could go to him, hey bro, I've got a tip from my uncle's cousin's fucking nephew that broke up with his niece's daughters, whatever the fuck it is. $3. Blokes throwing $100 straight through the tab like that.
Absolutely, man.
With a chance to win $300 when, I don't know. It's weird.
It's really funny. People who aren't exposed to that way, and the fact that for $20 you can change your life. You literally can. A couple of books I've read, $16 books. It's like it changes your whole perspective.
Sam Walden, that made in that Walmart one, made in USA. I think I bought that for like $5. If he was alive today, he'd be the richest person in the world. So. Yeah, you got the richest person in the world writing a book on his deathbed. I feel like he's got something to say that's more valued at $5.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So what makes YKTR different?
I think that we're in such a saturated industry with it's so cliche. Everyone's starting a clothing company now. We've had, and I don't say these numbers lightly, we've had over 100 people credited us for starting a clothing company, and there'll be plenty more that will never credit us for it. But I think our point of difference is transparency. I think we're open and honest, and I think we help everyone. So I think I can honestly say this with my hand on my heart. I reckon we make better content than any other clothing brand, big, small, in this country, in New Zealand, potentially. I wouldn't say the world, because it's a big market, but I don't feel like there's anyone that's inviting people into their office, inviting people into their lives, inviting people onto trips to China, teaching them how to do it, how to start a clothing company, how to scale it, how to Facebook advertise, how to understand that what I realize is like if you either can entertain or educate, like you're gonna get a market. And I teach people how to do all this, and the long form tail of it is they come back and support you. And I don't think anyone's doing it.
Absolutely. It's a long-term game, man.
It is very long-term, and it's very Gary Vee. Like, I'm cliche fucking Gary Vee. Yep. Anything I say, I just say exact same things he says in a different accent and a different tone. And it's worked for us. Like,
absolutely.
I give away all our secrets. Like, people will ask for a manufacturer a lot, but not a lot of people are ready for it. I go, how much money you got? They got $2,000. I'm like, if I come back to me when you got 25, 30, ready to go, and you've got a brand that's selling 40 to 50 units, I'll give you our supply. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because I know suppliers don't make brands. People have come to me with 60K, 40K, go, give me a supplier. I'm like, yeah, sweet. Gave it to them, out of business 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they can't sell shit, because they don't know how to brand, because they don't know how to market, because they don't know how to give value to the end consumer. So I don't say this lightly. I think we provide more value than anyone in terms of content. Yeah.
Man, Gary's a perfect example. He gives away all his value. Like he doesn't leave anything on the table. He gives it all away, and it comes back tenfold for him. So it's a perfect example, and you're obviously doing a brilliant job at it and standing out.
Does that give you a kick?
What?
Knowing that you're helping people? Providing content?
Yeah.
Obviously, we spoke behind the scenes there about some of the DMs that you get. Is that a driver? And I know you're big on the first 5 to 10 seconds in the day. Listen to a lot of your content about you sort of determine your happiness based on how you feel in the morning. And is one of the drivers knowing that you're making a difference in people's lives, particularly boys, being one of your demographic?
Yeah. So like, I wish I could show you a lot of the DMs I get, and it's almost become daily, and that's almost the driving force now. And we talked about before, like, was meant to make that money in a month. I made it in 5 days. Didn't feel shit. This is stuff that makes me feel good now, and it's addictive. Fuck, like, I get these inboxes from people that have contemplated suicide, from people that have left their jobs and started a small successful business, people that are happy, people that have someone to look up to now, and that, like, I don't take that lightly. And I put up a post. It was Gary Vee's birthday the other day, and I've got to meet him one time and said thank you, looked him in the eyes, and I think my post was like, thank you changed my life. And my friend Lima, he goes, someone's going to do that post about you one day. And that kind of really resonated with me, because I don't think like that. I'm just like bang, bang, content. Like, I would have posted 3 times today already. Like, I move so quick. I don't really have time to stop and reflect, and which I need to start doing. And I get so many thank you messages right now. Oh, it sounds bad, but almost take it for granted now, which is kind of sad.
Sure,
but it's
desensitized in a way.
Yeah, it happens so much. I'm just like, oh, thank you very much. Like, I don't undervalue any of the comments that I get. I do take the time to reply, but like, yeah, I don't know. It just becomes normal now, and because I say thank you so much, it almost becomes a part of your life. I just feel grateful when I wake up.
Yeah,
and looking at that brand, you know the rules, or YKTR. Now that I think about it, and particularly talking to you now in face to face, you almost feel like it's a family feel.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're a part of something. Like, I know, for example, my best mate, up on the coast, goes, like, I was obviously talking about coming down and doing a podcast with you. He's like, yeah, I just got some stuff online. And it's like if you wear that stuff, like, you're a part of a family. I don't know. I just got that sense then. Like, I almost...
See, that sort of falls back into that, like, the value of content that we provide. Yeah. So, like, I'm walking down the street and oh shit, I'm about to swear. Blokes are going, like, there's so many sayings that we've said on the course of our vlogs and things that's kind of picked up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it does get annoying, because by here we are, and everyone's like, not the fake YKTR or like doozy, which is great. Like, I understand they want to feel a part of it. But one of the best compliments I've got, and this is probably one that means the world to me, is like, you're exactly the same on Instagram that you are in real life.
Yeah.
So I've been having beers with people. I take the time to go say hello. It's fucking weird. Like, I sell t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a sports star. Like, even though I've come from that background, like, I was never the big time player. Like, I sell fucking t-shirts. Like, I have a podcast. And like, people coming up to me for photos and saying thank you and all that sort of shit. Like, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But that's it. It's the authenticity. That's what people relate to. You know what I mean? That's why.
It's super authentic, man. And it is funny because it's in a different medium, and although you may not perceive it this way, the big time stars who are on the TV and stuff, people are seeing on the TV, they're being projected as these big stars. That's what you're being projected as on social media and stuff. And that's the same relationship you're building with people, just in a completely different medium. So it's hard to relate, but it's similar.
Yeah, I 100% understand where you're coming from. And like business is kind of the cool thing right now. Podcasting is kind of the cool thing. Vlogging is kind of the cool thing right now. Yeah. We've been the first movers. We weren't obviously the first people to start a clothing brand, but we were the first guys to do it from like rugby league. And we started vlogging like 2 years ago, and no one was really vlogging at the time. I started a podcast this year, and like the amount of podcasts that have popped up since then, because everyone thinks it's just easy, or everyone thinks vlogging is easy, or everyone thinks starting a clothing company is easy. So I think we're this weird combination of like ex-football players that are trying to transfer into business. So we've taken a market that's popular in Sydney, rugby league, and then do something that everyone else wants to do, start a business. Yeah. Who hasn't thought of starting a business with their friends? Absolutely. Like we're the example of that, and we're not the smartest blokes in the world, but we've been able to portray that like almost anyone can do it, you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Absolutely, man. What you say you posted 3 times already? Yeah, and it's 9 o'clock. Yeah, like where do these ideas come from?
Gary V, attention. So I was about to write a post the other day. I was talking about it yesterday on the boxing podcast. I don't know nothing about boxing, but you see boxers get mad at football players because they get paid where these guys have been fighting their whole life. You look at Logan Paul versus KSI, these guys would have been paid millions and millions of dollars. What does a football player, what does Logan Paul, what does KSI have over these boxing people that have their whole life? Attention. So the average person to buy in 2020, they're going to have to see your content 20 times before they consider buying. Back in 2011, it was 5. Yeah. So my goal was just go bang, 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 in your face, but provide value for you. Is it entertainment? Is it funny? Is it Corey saying something like, and then our brand is subtly there, and subconsciously you see it. Have you seen the movie Focus with Will Smith?
Yes.
You know the gambling part right at the start? Yeah. Fuck, that's it. That's the game it is. Yeah. Subconsciously they see all these things, and this is what marketers do. This is what advertising does. Subconsciously you see this all the time, so when it comes time to buy, you're like, oh shit. So the greatest story that I've heard for this is the Michelin food guide. So Michelin obviously is a tire company. What's its relation back to food? Sure. They rate the best food places in the world, but back in Germany, where the fuck they're from, in the 30s, I'm making up numbers here, but what this tire company figured out was they would start writing reviews about cafes and restaurants that were 20 miles outside their village, and they'd write it favorably, go try this place out, it's awesome. So they were giving value to the end consumer. Sure. And what people would do, so they'd drive out and go, oh, it was good, come back. Driving 20 miles, come back. What does that do? Where's your tyres out? Fuck, I need new tyres. Who do I go to? Subconsciously, who's the person that's giving me the most value? Oh shit, that little fucking balloon-looking thing, Michelin. Let's get my tyres fixed. And that's what content is these days. It's kind of gone old school.
So how do you strategize? Because posting a lot, like Gary put out a thing the other day, is how to make
64 pieces of content in a day.
I had to look through like the first 10 pages. I was like, fuck, like I got to invest my time in looking through this, and obviously it breaks it down. Yeah. But how have you structured?
I don't schedule too much. I used to. I just don't feel like my copy's as good. I feel like I post better on the run, so I'm just on my phone. Like my average screen time is like 9.5 hours a day, and most of that's on Instagram, replying to people and putting out content. And that's what you got to realize: if you're going to build an online business, you need to be online. You need to be on your phone. Yeah. So in terms of strategy, I think I will move into strategic things a lot more. Yeah. Probably more so scheduling my morning posts through all our different platforms. So what that allows me to do, I don't fall into the vortex or the Venus flytrap of fucking Instagram and start posting and then start looking at a bunch of other shit. And like half an hour later, I'm fucking consuming Gary V content. So potentially scheduling my morning posts up to about 11, 12 o'clock so I can actually focus on the business that's going to move the money needle forward for us, that's going to generate cash flow, that's going to generate brand, that's going to generate marketing. So I find if I get on my phone in the morning, I kind of get too distracted and it kind of fucks up my day. So as a business owner, my job is to generate sales as if you want to keep it honest, and if I'm not doing things that drive sales that don't get cash flow into the business, we're out of business. So that's what your focus as a business owner should be.
So, I mean, obviously you're very good at that, and a lot of your business is on social media. When you're not in work mode, what does social media play for you? How do you because a lot of people get caught up on social media, scrolling. Have you ever had issues with getting caught in that, just spending hours and hours and hours?
Yeah, I think it's sort of the natural progression that we've sort of moved towards, but like I don't look at stories and stuff anymore. Like I remember I used to go home and like flick through stories. And because I post so much content, it almost feels like work, you know what I mean? It's like an accountant doing Excel sheets and then going home and then fucking doing something for a laugh, or like a chef cooking all day and then coming home and cooking for fun. Yeah. And like, it doesn't, I consume very little content from external people. I will have a look at a few things. Obviously, you want to laugh, so memes and that are cool. But in terms of like podcasts, I'm big on podcasts, but I only listen to like Gary Vee and Naval Ravikant and Andy Frisella. Like I don't consume too much outside content because I don't want to get distracted.
Yeah. And that probably comes up at the top of your feed as well. So you're getting that. It's the same with me. I get all my top dudes and there's ways to strategize it. But too often I just see the reason I ask so many people complaining that social media is bad. And I understand it's the association with the social media, but there's ways to make it super, super beneficial.
What do you see bad about social media?
Man, it's a time waster. Like you look at TikTok and man, Gary Vee preaches TikTok and I've fallen victim to it. Me and my girlfriend sat down, I think 2 hours yesterday. And before you know it, 2 hours is gone. You're just watching videos. And so from a productivity standpoint, if you've got nothing better to do, sure, it's fine, but it's a huge time waster.
But why don't people talk about TV like that? Fucking TV's doing the exact same shit, you know what I mean?
Well, it is, man. But social media's the new TV.
Yeah.
So you got Facebook is like TV's been subsidized. You got radio. Radio's gone for podcasts. Yeah. So they still play the same roles, but now it's like you just get it straight away. It's instant gratification.
And let me ask you a question. If I took your phone away from you at night time, what would you be doing?
Man, me personally, I'm disciplined. So I can read, I can do some work, do some writing, whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle. And that's the biggest thing that I see. And that's why I brought it up, is that a lot of people really, really struggle with that. And so I guess it's just about having that discipline and using the strategies. But so you never really struggled with it. Is there anything that you can give to people to help them with that, say they are struggling?
I don't know. Like you said, it's hard for me to talk on a topic that I don't know. People always, you guys understand this as well, but people talk about mental health. I've never been through mental health. I can ask the questions, but I actually don't know. But me being on the phone at night, when you run an e-commerce business, when you run an online business, once fucking 5 o'clock comes, we don't turn around the fucking Instagram sign and say we're closed.
Yeah.
That's when people get home and they start looking online. So through your comments, I'm replying to people all the time. I'll reply to 150, 200, 300 messages a day. And that's what's built our business up. So it's hard for me to like, and I know where their line of questioning has come from, but I don't know if I have the solution for it.
Yeah,
What's your downtime then? Like, for example, when you're not on Instagram, I know you read. Like, what's your time to like break free from that and just be a little bit on your own? You said you loved your own company. Do you read? Do you watch YouTube?
I'm obviously been a big reader the course of my life, but a lot of it is podcasts. A lot of it sort of like I try and get away from it in terms of like I go play basketball, or anything that can detach myself from technology. And this is kind of where you're going, but I kind of like all my best ideas come from when I'm detached away from it. When I'm exercising, when I'm going for a run, I'll be playing basketball and I'll think of an idea that's business related. So all that sort of stuff. But like I'm probably the bad example because I'll go flat for fucking 5-6 weeks. I'll be on my phone flat. I'll be trying to do fucking everything. And then I hit this wall and it's like for 4 or 5 days, I can't fucking stay awake. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I go the other way around. Like I'll just go bang, 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 and then fucking go.
But everyone operates differently. But I want to touch on it. So I want to bring it back to how we can bring value to obviously the boys listening as well.
Yeah.
Boys want to start business, right? And it's a cool thing to do, but judgment can come into it. And what was YKTR at the start? How did you overcome the judgment of like, my mates don't judge me? You maybe not personally. And do you have any tips for boys that go, I'm worried I'm not going to fit in with my mates, or like they're going to judge me if I'm not successful,
Find some new mates.
Yeah.
That's probably the simple answer for it. And when you come from football, and NRL's a little bit even more ruthless. Like the boys are fucking ruthless in changing rooms. The shit they say, like you could break up with your girlfriend and the boys taking the piss out you, shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, and you develop thick skin because everyone's trying to bag you from the outside. So you kind of build this thick skin up. So when we launched YKTR, all the footy boys, but no one's going to fucking buy your clothes. Start a vlog. Who the fuck's going to watch you boys? Podcast was a little bit different because we'd had a few runs on the board. So everyone's like, oh shit, you might be able to podcast now. So that's going to happen when we live in Australia where we're the biggest haters in the world. It's a national disgrace. And when you try and start something new, it's just a natural progression of it. And I put up a post the other day. Like when you start something new, people are going to laugh at you. 2 years, they're asking you for coffee if they can pick your brain.
Yeah, man, I read that. Yeah.
So it's just like you said, it is the easy thing to go into now. And like when you see things on like our vlogs and TV, it kind of looks easy. It's like watching football, like, oh, what the fuck did he pass that for? But you're not in the situation. You watch our vlogs, like, oh, fuck, I can do that too. It's not hard to put letters on a fucking t-shirt. So there's this natural progression that you think that it's easy and it's a lot harder. But when you do start, you are just going to cop judgment straight away. Yeah. And I think it's a great skill set. But if you are listening to this and your friend starts a business, buy something full price from them, because it means the world. I can name fucking on one hand how many people go, nah, I don't want a discount. Can I buy it at full price? And the ones that asking for free shit, like, it's not like I don't hang out with them and shit anymore, but like I know who's been supporting me from the start.
Yeah.
And what you realize as you get older, and this is a demographic target towards 16 to 24. You kind of want all these friends when you're a little bit younger. When you get older, you only want a couple mates. And I talk about this, the law of 33%, and it's a Ty Lopez thing. You hang around 33% of people that are smarter than you. If you don't know anyone that's smarter than you, books, podcasts, hang around people that are on the same level as you. So people that don't know me, know Chico and Normie. So my ROI from them is not to fucking get better at business. It's just to have mates to talk shit and laugh with. Yeah. And then your last 33% is how can you help people?
Yep.
Do you have a little brother that you can teach him stuff that you wish you were taught at that age, or are you a football player and you can go help kids learn and get better? Or so that's how I believe you should spend your time. And if you only hang out with one crew and ask them for advice about relationship, about business, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, man.
What's your message and piece of advice for guys out there that are struggling with that transition from, you know, having this big sporting dream, or coming out of school, or for any footballers that have maybe had injuries like you and found themselves outside of playing football? What's your piece of advice in making that transition?
So people that are in football right now, or?
You know, when you grow up, you know, for example, I always want to play football, and people hold on to that dream. And obviously it's a very, very small percentage of people that made the NRL or made the NBA or whatever. What's your piece of advice for someone that has that dream and doesn't know that transition from there's more to this world and more to life than just being a sporting star?
Let's just put it this way. I prefer my life a lot more now than when I was playing football. I was probably paid 3-4 times more than what I'm paid now. Two, 3 times more than I'm paid right now. But my life's a lot more happier now. But I understand, because I was a kid chasing the dream and football was my everything. Like, go all in, focus in. But there's so much fucking cool shit you can do in the world. If you ask, like, I could show you some DMs from some of the biggest names in the game asking me, when's it time to quit? Some of them 24, 25. Like, it's not the thing that everyone thinks it is. And I know a lot of people do love it, and it is perceived to be the dream because we put sports people on the pedestal.
Absolutely.
But in terms of happiness, you're not always happy in football. It's a fucking emotional roller coaster, and it's just going to get harder and harder with the external pressures. Everyone's got social media, so everyone starts to value their opinion. You got people that have never played that think they're Wayne Bennett. So it's going to grow from that. But have outside interests. Like I said, Michael Luck impressed me because he wasn't just solely focused about football. And like, I know a lot of people will go football, but it's kind of like you need outside interests. Yeah. Some people have religion, some people have families. They become a lot more balanced person.
It opens you up to
new experiences.
Possibilities, 100%. Who are some people you draw inspiration from? Gary Vee, obviously. Yeah,
that's it.
So listening around.
No one else.
Ty Lopez. Do you still follow him as much?
I do listen to his content sometimes.
Okay.
I still find him like he does speak really, really well. But yeah, Gary Vee's my guy. Andy Frisella, he's another great one. Naval Ravikant, who have you heard him?
I've looked at his stuff, but I like. Is he very behind the scenes? Like what does he do?
No one, he's an angel investor. So he's worth like, his company's worth like 2-point-something billion.
Oh, damn.
So he's loaded, but he kind of just pumps out kind of what I'm doing right now, like the 1 sentence tweets and stuff like that. Yeah. So anyone listening and wants to listen to something a little bit different, go on Joe Rogan's one and Naval Ravikant, and it's one of my favorite podcasts.
Actually, I did listen to that. Yeah, he was real. Was it talking about AI and whatnot?
Yeah. He's smart.
Real smart.
He makes, like, he talks about, so everyone knows I'm sort of Gary Vee orientated, but he talks about a smarter business person will get double the results in half the time. So I'll fall into the Gary Vee model. I'm like, fucking work, all this sort of shit. But then I listened to that. I was like, that makes sense. If I can double our top line revenue, but only half the time, who's the better businessman?
Yeah.
So just stuff like that. It was pretty interesting to listen to.
Yeah, for sure. How do you want to be remembered?
This is straight up. I just want to provide value for other people, and that's something that's given me a kick. And obviously, you talked about getting messages from a lot of people. I kind of want to have the best podcast in Australia. That's one of my goals. I want to help a lot of people. I don't have an exact number on it. Just want to be happy, travel, hang with a couple cool people, talk to cool people, and help people along the way. I'm a small town kid, but I don't need too much. Like, I haven't come from much as well. Like, cars don't excite me, houses don't excite me, experiences excite me, conversations excite me. Trying to do something that I love every single day excites me. So when it's all said and done and someone goes, he woke up, I can honestly say most of my life I've woken up doing exactly what I wanted to do. There was a probably 2-3 year period in football where I was like, oh, fuck, I'd rather be doing something else. Monday still felt like a Monday.
Yeah.
But most of my life haven't really done anything that I didn't want to do. I've never really worked a real job. I've built this up. It hasn't always been easy, but yeah, someone that hasn't wasted his life.
Do you find yourself someone that's very aware of how they feel? Like, for example, you know, a lot of people were talking about taking those messages and DMs for granted. Do you take a moment when you get those big DMs of, you know, helping boys' lives, and they're reaching out to you? Do you like sit there and soak that in and actually like feel like, how does it make you feel? Like, you seem very aware with, I guess, the feelings that you have in certain situations. You know what you want to do, so you're aware of your state when you're at work, like what type of person you are. Do you feel like you have high awareness?
I think I have high self-awareness, but a lot of times, like, I'll give advice on things that I'll do. Like, I don't tell them. Like, there was someone that asked me, like, I'm making this amount on my side hustle and this and that. Like, when should I not quit? I'm like, imagine if you spent double the time on your side hustle, you probably make double the money. So, like, and I feel like I regret saying granted, like taking it for granted. It's just kind of become normal.
Yeah.
And they still make my stomach drop. They still make me feel a certain way. So granted was kind of the wrong word. So I do take that back. But yeah, like I do know, like, yeah, the awareness side of it is definitely there. And I feel like I got a broad perspective in life, because I've been in a like high pressure situation in sports, but I was never the guy that was under all the pressure. So I saw the guy that was under the pressure, but I was kind of his teammate. Yeah. And I've come into business, and like and people all want to get into business now, but I've had that like 16 months without getting paid and fucking eating mee goreng noodles, and my electricity got cut off, and I had to go down to my fucking car park to charge my phone because I'm running an online business. So I see that side of it as well. And I come from a town where we had the highest youth suicide rate in the country, so I understand suicide. My mum's cut down someone, she works at a primary school, and she's cut someone down from a flying fox who was exactly my age. So I understand that. I understand the Polynesians don't have a business person to look up to, because we don't like, Polynesians don't get into business. Māori people don't get into business. So I come from there. I've traveled the world, so I've experienced different things. I've read 100 books. I listen to podcasts every single day. So you compile all these different experiences on top of each other, and you kind of get this really broad perspective. And I probably only get asked about 5-6 questions a day. So I feel like I got an okay answer for a lot of them. If I can't help, I'll say, to be honest, but I don't know.
That's really cool about you. You know, you've drawn and you've, I guess, created the person that you are today, and your thinking patterns off the back of experiences as well. And, you know, the way you communicate, particularly to the demographic, I feel like we have similar demographics. And you talk to that person. You know what I mean? You talk their language. You talk... Boys are taking language from you. Yeah. You know, doozy and all the words. Where's the kettlebells? What is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but you taught to those boys, and that's probably why it's so relatable. But I just had I remember seeing, I think it was you guys did a vlog on it. Do you guys help the homeless with clothing?
Corey and Chico, they've been doing that for sort of about 2-3 years, so they're big into that. A lot of stock that we don't sell, we sort of pass on to them guys. And people have come to us, they're like, why would you give your clothes to homeless people? It might devalue your brand. What the fuck? Yeah. There's people out there struggling to get clothes, and we're donating stuff that we're not selling. Yeah. And you think we're devaluing our brand? So that's the kind of place we're in. But it's something they're really, really passionate about. And it's not just the passion that's dealt from, like, because they're getting media coverage around it. Like, the boys were doing that for a year before even anyone picked up on it. Yeah. At the start, because I'm more content driven, I was like, fuck, let's make a vlog about it. Let's go do this. Yeah. And no, this is just our thing. Like, we get a kick out of just going down, talking to them. And a lot of them, you'd be surprised, man, because how many times you walk past a homeless person and it's just naturally you're like, shit, like, they're rattling the tin. We just walk straight past them. And it's common, but you get down there, and they look you in the eyes and they have a conversation. But a lot of them got fucking smartphones and got KO and shit on their phone, and they watch all the football.
Yeah,
it's a lot different than what you think it'd be. So I've been down once. It was a really good experience, but that's something that they're passionate about. So,
and you said they get kicked out of it, and obviously going back to that self-awareness on how they're feeling, they'd be driving home just feeling like they've done so much. And obviously we can't compare to a football game and whatnot. It's probably a completely different feeling, but like, would I be lying if I said that they would get just as much a kick out of that helping someone than they would win a football game?
Yeah, different kind of adrenaline. Obviously, like you build for a week or you build for a preseason for a game and you get the win and you're sort of hyped up and you're around your mates. But it's more of a gratitude or perspective type of things. I think why I'm sort of like, I talk like one of the boys because I come from a football background, but I can talk from a lot of angles because I've read a lot of books, because that's given me perspective. Like a lot of football players don't have perspective. They've just gone in. So what fucking going to a kids hospital when kids have got cancer, that gives you a perspective. Going to jail, that's another one. Like Russell Pack is one of the smartest blokes you ever talk to, but people don't understand that.
Yeah.
So that gives you, I think, Sandor Earl, he's really great to talk to as well, because he's had these different life experiences where you get sort of kids going straight from high school straight into football and getting money, getting fame, given like everyone sort of knows him. That's a different life. Like people come up to you, they recognize you, and you get used to getting recognized, and then this just drags you back down. And that's why I feel like I'm relatable, because when I was in football, I was kind of just the average guy. So the normal guy who's living a normal life, I could relate to him, but then I could also see my friend who's a superstar getting bagged from people. So I can see it. I can see it.
And Steve Jobs talked about you can only join the dots looking backwards, and you can probably look back on all the experience that you had from now and go, man, that made sense.
Yeah. Like I talk about, like someone goes, do you regret all the games that you missed? And I was like, fuck, if I didn't get injured, I probably wouldn't have picked up a book.
Yeah.
If I didn't get fucked off to England, I wouldn't have been grateful for being in the NRL. If I didn't go to the NRL, I wouldn't have met Chico. If I didn't meet Chico, I wouldn't have met Corey. If I didn't meet them two, we wouldn't have YKTR. Like, do you know what I mean? Well, fuck knows where I'd be. I'd be trying to start a business somewhere else, but will we have the start that we did? Probably not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like you said, like you walk through life walking backwards, you can only see what you've done. So grateful for experiences, but learned experiences as well.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's it all makes sense when you look back. It's like in the moment, it's tough, it's confusing. It's when these bad things happen to you, injuries and stuff like that. But you probably wouldn't have it any other way now.
No way. I've talked about this before. If someone goes to me, if Wayne Bennett rocked up, he goes, "Here's a contract for 3 years for $350,000." I'd say no. Fuck, I'm good. Yeah. I'm doing exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I had Trent Barrett tried to he asked me if I wanted to coach with him when I left Manly, because he saw me as like a coach. And like even that, like I had opportunities to go down those pathways, and I was like, nah, just there's something that wasn't pulling me towards that direction. I wanted to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I went this way. I'm glad I followed my gut.
How often do you follow your gut and your intuition?
Yeah, a lot. I'm very erratic as well.
Okay.
I think it's star sign more than any, like my girlfriend's like, oh, you Sagittarius are all the same or something. So like I'll start a business tomorrow. I started the podcast off like, I felt like my gut was pulling me that way.
Nice.
And that was sort of 8 months ago. I started vlogging because gut was pulling me that way. So a lot of it's right, but I've been wrong sometimes as well. I've started businesses, or I've given promises to people that I could help their business grow. And then a day later, my gut was going, and then I pulled out.
Yeah.
Like people offered me equity in their business, and I'm just going, do you know what? I don't probably have the time to give you everything I need. So I'm going to pull out, where I've shaken hands and look them in the eye, I go, yep, we're on here. And then the next day, it just didn't feel right. And I'm going to go, oh, fuck, rung them up. I'm sorry. Yeah. So it's important to follow, but if you get it wrong, don't judge yourself as well.
Well, it's a good lesson. Trust your gut, go with the flow, learn from the experiences, have the experiences like you have, and then construct and learn and continue to grow.
Yeah. I feel like where my strength lies, and I'm not fucking super original in terms of the life that I've lived, like playing sports and that, but I feel like I've been able to communicate it very, very well in a way that people can understand. I feel like storytelling is a big part of marketing, and I feel like that's where we've come really good with YKTR, because I can write an okay story. I can speak okay. I'm comfortable in front of a camera. My friends are comfortable in front of the camera, and I never feel like everyone's like that, or they can't portray how they feel, especially as a bloke in Australia or a bloke coming from sports. You're not allowed to say how you feel, and I feel like I can do that, and that's what people can relate to. So I feel like that's why I'm super relatable.
Yeah. Before we roll into the last question, do you have a morning routine?
I go through phases of morning routine. I know all the successful people do, but when I do feel good, it's exercise in the morning. I'm not big on meditation or anything like that. I know it helps a lot of people. I've done all the morning routine stuff, and do you know what? I do feel better. But the most cliche one when I do feel the best is workout, cold shower. But I'm not doing it at the moment. So
Coffee?
Yeah, coffee, 100%.
Yeah.
At the moment, what I'm doing, my car hasn't had a rego for like 3 months, so it's just sitting out there. I walk to work, no phone, and just fucking daydream.
Nice.
Yeah, but that comes back. That's your downtime away from detachment from your phone. And you probably, like you said, or I'm a big believer that you're most productive in the mornings as well. So having that time where you walk into work, probably thinking of your greatest ideas or what things you want to post while sipping on your coffee.
Yeah, 100%. But as a business owner, and I read this in the book, your first part of your day should be, like I talked about before, moving the money needed forward. Anything that can, it might be writing an email, it might be, what's the one piece of content that's going to fire today, that's going to help us get sales or branding or marketing. And people don't understand the difference between sales, marketing and branding. So that when that's the big part of my day, I can kind of relax. I've done the Andy Frisella power list with the 5 things that you got to cross off and then you can cruise home. I've tried everything. So, but yeah, obviously exercise is a big one. Don't probably do as much as I should. Yeah. Just thinking. I enjoy thinking.
Yeah. I mean, man, it sounds like that's your meditation as well. Meditation doesn't have to be sitting still, and surfing for me is meditation. And it's just any time that you get to just be with yourself. Not be.
You're spot on.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you like meditation.
Are you guys meditators?
We're just preaching right now.
See, man, but that's I can't sit down and just sit there like.
Absolutely. I'm a bit like you. I can't either.
Yeah.
I like to think of things I'm grateful for, and it puts me and what I'm excited about. So, like for example, for me, I do like 10 minutes in the morning, but it's like what I'm grateful for, and then 3 things I'm excited about. So whether it's bridge the gap, DMR my gym, or like for example the podcast today. You know what I mean? But automatically I'm in a state of mind where I'm excited for things. Or rather than getting out of bed and going, shit, I've got these emails, I've got this and this and this and respond to, and starting your day in a state of stress and anxiety. You're starting your day.
It's prioritizing perspective as well. Like it's like you say, you've traveled the world, you've had messages from people who are going to commit suicide. You've experienced a whole range of things. When you come up to a situation that might not seem so great, you think back to that and you're like, well, fuck, I actually have it great. It puts things into perspective. So I guess the whole thing with starting your morning with that is that you're putting yourself into a state of perspective right from the start. Allows you to carry that through the day.
I'm sort of lucky because I don't have to wake up and think about it. Like I'll roll, like, you know when you half roll over and your eyes start to go like that? I'm up.
Straight. That's cool, man.
Trying to make voices out. Let's go. Get up, fuck yeah.
Ending question to wrap it up. You're 19, 20 years old. Obviously, you experience a lot, or even taking it back to 17, when you just sort of, wherever you want, 17, 18, 19. You're the age you are now. You've experienced everything that you've experienced, and you can tell yourself one piece of advice, or give yourself one piece of advice. What would it be?
Be 19, 20. Don't change a thing.
Yeah.
Don't be in a rush. I'm 30 years old and I still feel fucking 19, 20. Like it's Friday tomorrow. I'm like, fuck, where am I going to get a beer from? Like, I think if I try to change it too much, I might not be, it's sort of like, the butterfly effect. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's easy for me to sit here at 30 years old with a business and like people sort of admiring you for what you've done and sort of say that shit, but it's kind of true. And a lot of cliches are true. The reason they're cliches is because they're said so often, and because they're said so often, it's probably because they're right. And be 19, 20, man, it's a good time.
Did you know that back then? Were you just living?
I was in a rush to grow up.
Yeah.
Like I was like, shit, I want to be 24, 25. I thought being married was like the fucking thing to do by the time you're 25. So, I don't know. Just it's a long life, man. It's a long life, and I don't want to get too super corny with all the fucking quotes and shit, but like I'm looking forward to getting older. I'm looking forward to growing up. I don't feel any different. I talk to my girlfriend's parents and they're sort of 55, 60, around there, and they go, fuck, we feel exactly the same. So probably the one advice I would give, you're not going to feel any different. You might have different responsibilities. The hangovers take a bit longer. So when you're out on the piss, you're like, fuck, it's one. I was like, shit, I might get home so I don't get a hangover tomorrow. You learn from experiences, but you're going to feel exactly the same. So that's my advice to you.
Nice, man. Nice.
Read books, listen to podcasts, hang around different people, ask different questions, require different actions, and they get different results. So
nice.
Diversify your friends.
Yeah. I think that's a big one. Man, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at IICE_ice. Probably not the best name to go. You can find me on... you can find me a bunch of places. YKTR, that's probably my clothing company. YKTR is our media company. On YouTube, The Ice Project, YKTR is where all our vlogs and shit are. Actually, just find me on Instagram, IICE_, and then hit the link in my bio, and I've got everything there.
Nice. Structured. I like it. Bro, thank you so much. This has been brilliant. Look forward to doing it again sometime.
Yeah, congratulations on your podcast, boys. I hope you boys kill it as well.
Awesome, man.
Cheers, bro.
Thanks
you
boys.
so
much.
Legends.